Hey guys, uh, I have a quick question. Do you have the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave? Uh, I've been reading several, financial books, several books, including the Bible, obviously, just on financial literacy, how to, how to focus more. And the more and more I've been reading, the more I'm understanding there's there's two type of people, and these are my opinions from the books I've been reading and just the knowledge I've been gaining over the last 2 years. So the question was, do you have the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave? And it's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, where it describes an individual, and essentially he was a slave, but he told his master that he had the soul of a freeman. But he was like, "But you're a slave," so he had to choose. And essentially, when I'm reading these books, I'm applying it to my life and what I'm going through and how I live my life. So when I hear, do you have the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave?" I hear, it sounds like to me they're asking me that. And for me, I have the soul of a freeman. I don't have the soul of a slave. I used to. And the difference between, I know freeman has been used differently, but which is a free man. That's what it meant in the Babylon, the richest man in Babylon. That's what it meant, like a free man. That's what it meant during slavery. Are you a free man, or are you a slave? So you can be a free woman, same thing. But um, what I did was I took a bunch of notes. So when I'm taking notes, I don't write down what it's saying. I write down what it made me think about when I heard that question. So what I got was the soul of a freeman looks at life as a series of problems that can be solved, and they solve them. I get it done. I get it done. That's what that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, when it was came down to starting my business or learning financial literacy or budgeting or doing my finances, I just did it. I didn't cry about it. I knew I was broke. I knew I had no money, but I had to start somewhere. So I have the soul of a freeman. I get out there and get things done when I need to. Um, and yes, I fail a lot, but I tell my son that failure is a part of life. Failing is how I got most of my wisdom, by making mistakes. That's how most of us got our wisdom, from making mistakes. So I don't teach my children to not do something because they might fail. I teach them to do it, and if you fail, learn how to do it better. And if you fail again, continue to try. And I focus on an aspect of all work works, and it comes from the Bible. Like anything you put your hand to, do it to the best of your ability. And when it's saying that all work works, it means it's either going to work on me to help me learn how to do the thing the correct way, or it's going to work for me to where I make money, I'm getting paid, and everything is running smoothly. Those are only two choices. So, you know, just hearing that when I was reading that book, just I paused for a few days on that one passage, on that one page. Do you have the soul of a freeman or the soul of a slave? And this has nothing to do with slavery and all of this. It's simply, are you going to be a slave to the world? Are you going to be the free, or are you going to be a freeman living in Christ? That's what it sounded like to me. So I chose, I have the soul of a freeman. So, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and I've grown to be more faithful in what I'm doing, so that if it don't work for me and I ain't getting paid from it, then I know what to change. Then it's working on me. That's my wife creeping in the backyard. So we've been able to sit out today in the backyard. I got the pool going okay, but I got I still got some pH balance and stuff to work on. But anyway, um, but the soul of a freeman looks at life as a series of problems that can be solved, and he solves them. That's what I do. Um, my wife knows when I set my mind on something, I'm like hyper focused on it, to where if it's not working on me, it'll work for me, and she knows that I'm consistent. Nempa. So and then so sorry, that's the soul of a freeman, which is how I view myself. And then, but I used to be a slave. Now, don't let the smooth taste fool you. I used to be a slave to my flesh. I used to be a slave to the world. I used to be a slave to trying to have things John way, because I felt like that's the way it should be. Wrong, completely wrong. That's that poverty mindset. Um, and now I'm in a process where I have a growth mindset, and I'm growing daily, and I'm learning that when I when I was struggling more in poverty, I had a small vision. And when my vision was small, I didn't read. I wouldn't read. I hate reading. I hated doing reading educational stuff. I hated it. I was 26 years old and reading on a fourth grade reading level. And it didn't dawn on me then that that was horrible, but it dawned on me about a year or two later. Like I had to focus. And I started to read books that allowed me to speak. That I read books that had words in them that allowed me to be able to speak the way I wanted to communicate. Um, and it was a struggle, but I had to discipline myself. I set my sights on doing it, and I got it done. But now, when I had that soul of a slave, um, I did do a lot of crying and complaining and blaming, pointing the finger, instead of taking responsibility for myself, getting things done. So when I heard that part, I wrote down, the soul of a slave cries, "What can I do? I am just a slave." Can you hear the difference between a free man and a slave? I'm not a slave to the world, to the flesh, to doing the things that John wants to do. I'm a freeman. I focus on serving Jesus Christ, following him, his principles, his will, providing for my family, earning some income, and doing the things that I need to do to to be considered a good man in the eyes of God. And good also, it also means like a righteous, pious, upright, honest man. That's what God meant when he said in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22, I believe, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. He said that, and I believe what the Bible says. So, anyway, but the soul of a slave. Like, what can I do? I'm just a slave. That's that consistent rhetoric that, oh, I can't do nothing because the man got me down. Oh, the white man doing this. Oh, they holding me back. You're spending majority of your time complaining. So you're the slave because you don't have anything. You have a small mindset. You have a small vision. So you don't read books, one book a month. You don't hire a coach. You don't learn about finances. You live by the seat of your pants and that YOLO lifestyle, which is YOLO is you only live once. But that's your mindset. So instead of having a big vision and a growth mindset, you're focused on poverty and what can you get for free and bragging about living on food stamps. I had met a guy not too long ago, and maybe 2 weeks ago, and a young black guy, and he was like, "Man, I'm food stamp shorted. Like I'm straight. I ain't paying nothing. I'm using straight food stamp." And I didn't have it in me. I didn't have the energy to to even say anything because he was so enthusiastic about living on food stamps, living on government assistance. But, I didn't demonize him. Like, I didn't think negatively. I didn't think bad of him because at one point I had the soul of a slave. I thought like that. I was so excited to get food stamps. When me and my son's mother were together, we were living on food stamps. And I was so excited. My food stamps come, I'm finna get this, and I wasn't even thinking that it was a setup. I didn't even see that it was a setup by the government. The government's not in the process of making people rich. And if you want to use a little logic for the food stamp aspect, notice how many people are on food stamps. How many of them are wealthy? How many of them have property? How many of them have generational wealth? Yeah, it's been at least 3 generations of my family on food stamps. We don't have any wealth. Well, we did, well, growing up, there you go. Growing up, we didn't have wealth. We didn't have financial literacy, but we had food stamps, we had government assistance, we had government housing, we had commodities, which are government agencies that hand out food. We had that. So there's nowhere in history, if you look it up, that the government has stepped in and delivered any culture, any race, any group of people from poverty by handing them food stamps. That's not going to happen. The government is not into making millionaires. They'll make themselves millionaires, but they will not give you food stamps so you can live better. They'll give you just enough to continue to come back and beg. And that to me is having the soul of a slave. Going, oh, well, that's free money. I ain't worried about it. That money is not free. You're tying yourself. If you want to know if it's free, see if they just hand it to you willy-nilly, or do you have to go to the food stamp office or get online and file at least 10 pieces of paper signing your social security number and your name on a lot of fine print that you don't even read. If it was free, it would be free. Air is free. You can step outside, suck some free air. That's free. But government assistance, food stamp is not free. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not knocking it. I lived off food stamps. I grew up on food stamps. I'm not knocking the food stamp system for helping those who truly need it. I didn't truly need it. I could have got my butt up and worked more. And one thing I didn't understand when I had the soul of a slave is that the more productive I was, the more money I would make. The more skills that I had to add to the marketplace, the more money I would make. But I didn't grow up with that mindset. I grew up with the mindset of, man, when I get paid, I'm gonna buy this and this and this. I used to put clothes on layaway and then work overtime to go pay those clothes off just to get them. Spent all of my money, all of my energy looking fake rich, and I ended up real broke for a long time, several years. I didn't get it together till I was in my 30s. And it's sad now, but I'm doing these videos. I'm running our nonprofit for young kids, and I'm going to these low-income areas trying to show them, like, you don't have to live like this. You can build wealth just by following simple principles that are, biblical principles, but it's facts of life. Rich people stay rich by looking poor. Poor people stay poor by looking rich. So it's not, if you notice, you don't see, so just going from the surroundings here in Memphis, when they bring out the new pair of Jordans, which again, they're not new. They're new to the public, but more than likely they brought them out 20 years ago, 15 years ago. But anyway, they recycle those shoes, styles or whatever, and you go to the Nike factory. 99.98% of the people in that line are living on food stamps, government assistance, government housing, and are living paycheck to paycheck. And you have a very small percentage that get the Jordans because they like them, but a lot of them get them so they can look fake rich, so they can put their shoes cost about what their utility bill costs, but they'll put a $20 on MLGNW bill and spend $400 on a pair of Jordans, new Jordans that came out, just so people can see the Jordans on their feet and go, man, those Jordans look nice. Looking fake rich. And that's, Jordans are not an indication of wealth. Wealth is an indication of wealth. But anyway, I know I got off topic, but that to me was when I had the soul of a slave, was when I was living paycheck to paycheck and I blamed everything on everyone else. And like, if you read the book, the Richest Man in Babylon, I've read it like 16, maybe 20 times. But you got to understand, like, with the soul of a freeman, now the way I am, I'm considered a freeman, because what the determination is for me, a way can be found, and it can be found for anybody, but you have to have that determination. You have to have that discipline and that will to go get the thing done that you need to do. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, like I was, payday loans, cash to you leasing, renting Renter Center, renting a washing machine, renting a PlayStation, renting a cell phone, you're wasting your money, but it's a way out. You have to work. You have to pick up side hustles, you have to pick up overtime, and you have to discipline yourself to stop spending all your money on things that you don't need. So when you have the soul of a slave, you blame everyone. You blame the government, you blame white people, you blame black people, you blame Hispanics, you blame immigrants, you blame the weather, you blame everything but yourself, and you don't take responsibility. And it may not be you. It may be someone you know. Because that used to be me. I used to have a soul of a slave. But now I have the soul of a freeman. And I mean, the life that God has blessed me with is absolutely outstanding. And I know for a fact that I lived a horrible life when I was living in the world. And I didn't think I deserved a life like this. But I tell you guys, like, the more I focus on His will and doing what God commanded me to do, and it's in the Bible, all you gotta do is read it and follow it. It's in there, word for word. And yes, it's hard, but you gotta choose. Do you want the soul of a slave? Do you want to have or keep the soul of a slave? Or do you want to have the soul of a freeman? Simple as that, guys. And it starts with discipline and reading the Word of God. Thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this video. A lot of this was just me trying to explain, like, how I felt on the inside with the correct way to you guys, so you can hear. Like, I'm a regular person living life, trying to do better. I'm not a millionaire yet, but my goal is to become a millionaire so that I can have more time to teach personal finance and budgeting to young people in low-income areas. I can have more time to devote to my wife. I can have more time to devote to my children as they grow. That's money to me is a tool. Money to me and my family, it's only a tool. It's not the goal. I don't want to be a millionaire just so I can say I'm a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire so that even 1 million for me will allow me, with my mindset, to devote more of my time to my family, my friends, and my business. Simple as that. And I'll use that money as a tool to continue to serve those in my community. And that's my goal, guys. So, I hope you guys continue to rock with us here on our YouTube channel. We're continuing to growing, and we should have a cash giveaway coming up, Mama. Yeah. So just stay tuned for the video. I'll give you a few days heads up when we doing our cash giveaway. So just be on alert. You don't have to hit all the bunch of notifications. You'll see the video. It'll show and say, hey, cash giveaway coming up soon or something like that. But Thank you guys so much. All of you guys who's been supporting us, rocking with us, helping us grow. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. And when you're living your lives out there, guys, remember, sit down by yourself, alone time, and ask yourself, or ask your spouse, or ask your children if they're old enough, or ask your friend that you hang around, do you have the soul of a slave or the soul of a freeman? And you can share this video with them, and let them know that there's a distinct difference. And just, I guess I believe in, if you want to help people, just tell them the truth. That's what I feel. To be unclear with someone feels to me is to be unkind. And I feel like if you want to help yourself and you're selfish, then tell people what they want to hear. They'll leave you alone. So it's as simple as that. So help those around you. If you have those around you who don't want to grow or refuse to grow, that's fine. You may have to, as you start growing, when you start to transform from having a soul of a slave to the soul of a freeman, you will lose a lot of people. You will lose a lot of people who don't understand that you don't want to be poor, you don't want to live in poverty, you want to grow, you want to be better educated, and educated not by going to college, but reading and learning a skill, things of that nature. So you'll lose a lot of people on that path, but I guarantee you the people you lose will not even compare to the people that you surround yourself with after you start growing and continue to grow. Those people will encourage you to do better. And that's all we're here to do here on JT's Vending Services YouTube channel. So be encouraged, guys. Have a blessed day. Au revoir. A bientôt. À la prochaine.